Alright, I already started this project up, so I'm going to bring you guys up to speed. But what the object of today is we're going to add on to that spaceship project that we've been kind of working on here. And I'm going to introduce you guys to randomization, because I'd like to randomly place the ship on the room instead of hard encoding where it goes. Also, I want to show you how to randomly choose different sprites for your asteroids so they're different, and randomly put the asteroids all over the room with random velocities and random rotational speeds and all this random crap. So, to start it off, what I did here was I created a new object, and I called this object object controller. So go ahead and do that now. Just make a new object, object controller. There's absolutely no sprite. This object is gonna kind of direct what's happening in the room. So we're gonna have some code in here to kind of it's like the director of the room, like saying what's gonna happen in the room. So do that, and then in your room, if you notice here, I got this little question mark. That's where I place the object controller. So you take object controller, just stick it, wherever you want. I just chose here. You can put it in the middle of your room, wherever, because there's no sprite, so it's invisible. All right, so just make sure it's in your room, and then that way when you play your game, the on creation event kicks off, right? Because you start up the game, the controller's in the game, create, boom, then you get a code. And so here's what I've already kind of started doing in code. I'll let you guys, get to copying it. So this first line, okay, I have random set seed get timer. This probably looks really confusing. Just put it in your code. What this does is we're about to make some random numbers, and if you don't have this, then basically you'll get the same random number every time, which I know doesn't sound very random, but that's because computers actually can't just come up with random numbers. Some would argue humans can't either, and that it's all just a logarithm in our own heads. I don't know. I think we can, and that differentiates us from computers. But computers, basically, a random number generator is a very, very complicated algorithm. That's all it is. Very complicated one. So it appears random to humans, even though it's really not a random number. So if you don't seed your random generator, then you're going to always get the same first random number that you got. And the reason people want that sometimes is for game testing and debugging and stuff. There's some uses for that. So that was probably a long explanation for this, but just put this in here: random set speed get timer, and pay attention to these parentheses, okay, because that's a function itself. Now, next line. This one right here, I am making a variable. Okay, this variable is called ship start x. All right, I'm making another variable down here, ship start y. This is going to be the x and y positions of where the ship's going to appear. Now, here's a function called iRandom. All right, iRandom takes in an integer. That's why there's an I in front of it for integer random. And you'll see here that I have the integer 600. So what that function is going to do for me is it's going to pick a integer from 0 to 600 and give that to me randomly. So I picked 600 because in my room, the width of my room is 640. So I want my ship to be somewhere within that 640. I don't want it to be on the very edge here where 0 is. I don't want it clipping. And I don't want it to be on the very right side either where 640 is. So notice, this will give me a number from 0 to 600. Then I bump it up by 20. So that's kind of like in a function when we do translations, right? And you have that plus or minus something on the back end, and that bumps the graph up or down. Same kind of idea. So the minimum number I can get here is 0, but then that's bumped up by 20. So that now means my minimum value is 20. My maximum value is 600, and then that's bumped up by 20. So that means my maximum value is 620. So this will put me anywhere from 20 to 620, which is a nice range along my horizontal portion of the graph. So then ship start Y, again, same thing. It's just going to give me a Y random number. And again, look, I adjusted it, so it should give me a number from 20 to 460, which in my case, with my height of 480, that's really nice within that value also. So that's that. This right here, I have print numbers, and what this show message function is going to do is it's actually going to put a little pop-up window that's going to appear, and that pop-up window is going to just print out whatever I have. So it's going to pop up and let me know what my random number was for ship start X, and what my random number was for ship start Y, and 2 different pop-up windows. And I'm just doing that to kind of demonstrate what numbers I came up with. All right. Then lastly, we have create ship. And so this one, instance create, I think we've already used this. It's looking for an X value, a Y value, and an object. So 3 parameters. First parameter, I'm putting my ship start X. Second parameter, my ship start Y. And then last parameter, my ship, my object ship. All right. So I'll get that code in there, and then we're gonna run this and watch how the ship now. Oh, and I removed the ship from the room too. So make sure you remove your ship from the room. We're gonna actually throw the ship in the room randomly with code. Okay, so let's see what happens here when I do that now. Okay, notice first off, before it does anything, it prints out my random number generator. So this gave me 599. My second one was 45, and now it puts the ship there. Boom. All right, let's run it again. Okay, 95, 55. Boom. So see how it's randomly placing my ship in the room now? Okay, cool. I'm going to go back here to my object controller, and I'm going to go ahead and comment out these two. I'm going to leave the code there in case I want to use it later, but I'm going to comment it out, so now it won't run that. And so now I can just hit play, and my ship should disappear randomly on the screen. There it is. Alright, so cool. So we got that done. Next thing on the agenda, we need to make some asteroids. So, what am I calling my asteroid here? Object, asteroid, alright, well, I'll change that around. Alright, so let's go ahead and make a couple asteroid sprites. You can obviously make way more. For the sake of time, I'm just going to make these pretty small. So, or not that many of them. So I'm going to call this one Asteroid 1. And I guess that's a fine sprite size. I'm going to edit sprite. New one. Yep, that's great. So I'm going to make my first asteroid here. And, you know, just, there we go. Lovely asteroid. You might want to spend more time on yours. You know, because I just made that. Like, it just came out of me like that. And it's beautiful. So there it is. So it's my first asteroid. Yep, good. And now I'm going to make another one. So, whoops, no. Okay, create another one. I'll call this sprite Asteroid 2. And yes, I just realized I spelled asteroid wrong on the first one, so I will fix that. Center it, edit sprite, new sprite, great. Okay, so I'm going to make my next asteroid, like a purple one too. And, you know, here we go. Woo! That looks like a fine asteroid right there. Put like some, you know, some textures so you can kind of really see where the, you know, asteroid, you know, like holes are from it hitting other asteroids, and it just looks, that almost looks realistic. So I got that. Alright. See if I can change the name of this one. Rename. Because I spelled it wrong. Asteroid. There we go. Alright, so I got 2 asteroid sprites. Now I need to make an asteroid object. So I'll make that. Object asteroid. And you know what? I'm not even going to give it a sprite because we don't need to do that anymore. So I'm going to hit OK. Boom. Alright, now we're going to use random generator to randomly place this asteroid on the screen and give it a random sprite, one of those 2 sprites. I got 2 sprites to choose from. If you guys want to do more sprites, that'd even be cooler. I'm just doing 2. How much time do I have? I don't know. Alright, so we're going to go back to... Well, first off, let's think about what happens when the asteroid gets created. So let's do that, okay? So this asteroid is going to get created. We're going to add event right there, create, throw some code in here. When this asteroid gets created, a bunch of stuff needs to happen. Alright, so I need to pick a random sprite number. I need a random rotation. I need a rotation angle. I'm going to need a direction and some speed. So let me just figure out what's going to happen here. Alright, so I'm going to get sprite. Let's copy this over. Sprite number. I'm going to go ahead and put my random seed in here too. Well, I think it's already seeded. So, okay, sprite number. Okay, I'm going to do iRandom again. Except I only have 2 sprites. So I'm going to call this 1. Because it'll give me a random number. It should of 0 or 1. Okay? It should be 0 or 1. And then what I'm going to do, and that's a variable right there, sprite number. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an if-else here. Okay, so we talked about ifs before. I'm going to do an if-else. So if sprite number, now here's the equals sign, equals 1. Then I'm going to run this code down here. And then here's the next command. It's called else. And else I'm going to run what's in here. Okay, so notice my if statement. Here's my condition. Okay, and this is the actual equal signs that you're used to in math for programming. It's 2 equal signs. So this one, remember this equal sign up here says I'm getting a random number and I'm going to put it into that variable. So that's a gets. This one is an actual equals. So it's going to say if this sprite number equals 1, then run what's in here. Okay, and if that's the case, then I'm going to set the sprite index, which I have right here. Just easier to copy it for me. Indent in. Okay, so I'm going to set the sprite index to sprite asteroid 1. And that's right there. Boom. See that? So if randomly it's a 1, then I'm going to set it to sprite asteroid 1. And we're in the object asteroid, so it should do that. Else, okay, so if it does not follow here, then we're going to go to the else. And I'm now going to make this one asteroid 2. So see, at the very beginning, this asteroid gets created. It's going to execute this code. I'm going to find a random sprite number, so it should be between 1 and 0. And then this if statement is simply saying, hey, if you happen to be a 1, because you only got 2 choices, 1 or 0. If it's 1, you're going to load asteroid 1 sprite into the asteroid object, or make it that sprite. And if it's not 1, then it falls down to the else clause, and then it'll make it 2. So that's it. So let's go ahead and put some asteroids on screen and see if this is working so far. Okay, so I'm going to come down to my controller. Now, look at this. I can just copy this right here, and just for testing purposes,